I think it was on Facebook. I was just looking through events and I'd signed up for the IIHS City Scripts last year. So I think I had also liked the page and I had subscribed to updates. And they had, IIHS had its, the day where they call in people to kind of information day of sorts. And yeah, so that's how I learned about the fellowship. My understanding from the information day was just that it's going to be multidisciplinary and there were going to be elements from urban planning, not subjects that I've been exposed to in the past, but that my background in social sciences and communications and economics would also be of value here in combination with other subjects. So that was interesting for me, and yeah, that's kind of what drew me to the program. I had come with expectations about getting to know about certain other technical aspects of how a city really comes together, and that I've certainly taken. And even with respect to social sciences, there's been a more nuanced understanding about certain aspects of Indian cities, and the fact that there is a focus on southern urban theory and things like how colonialized countries are now building their cities. That was truly something that I don't think I could have really learned about it anywhere else, because a lot of the literature and the kind of study in this field is drawn from northern cities that are from developed countries. So, yeah. It's been great, and I'm not just saying that for the sake of it, because it's given me a lot of time to reflect on certain issues from many different points of view, and it's also given me the opportunity to interact with people who have, a great deal of experience, not just kind of doing research, but also critiquing research, and also given their training, it's been the standpoint from which they're giving us this kind of knowledge, they're kind of talking to us. I'm just really drawing from their experiences. So that's been interesting, and that's what's been most important for me over the past 6 months. Of course, there's this one aspect of having great faculty and access to their time, even not just in class but outside of it, through office hours and everything, to be able to pick their brains. But then again, I also really appreciated the kind of peers that were curated as part of the fellowship, as part of the cohort. And that was really helpful for me, because I feel like there were not, usually in a workplace setting that I've been exposed to in the past, it's just been like engineers or people with certain kinds of trainings. But here I got to talk about specific subjects to people who were lawyers, who had been journalists, who had been engineers, urban planners, all sorts of people, right? So that kind of really I don't have the time or the opportunity to experience every single of their experiences, but to be able to draw from it and really take from notes from what they've learned and how they approach different subjects, that's been great as well. The course structure has been interesting. One thing led to another, and I really like the focus on things like social aspects, like identity was one of my favorite classes. And then of course there was also urban planning, or approach to planning, taken by Sudeshna and Sali. So that was really interesting. My favorite part is probably the electives. I really wish I was allowed to take more than 4. But then again, I had the chance to audit certain other electives whenever I could. And yeah, to have a lot of these things going on in the same building and to be able to talk to your peers about them, that was helpful. So course structure was interesting. Like I said, it's multidisciplinary. The practica was interesting for me. I had never really thought of, so I think in the past I had approached mental health, climate change, all in isolation, but to have it practica, what really stood out for me in practica was that it was rooted in field research, and that's something that in the past I've really felt the lack in my workplace, in the workplace that I have worked at, because you're with internet and with people on the phone, you're encouraged to really just talk on the phone or do secondary research. And practica, with every week you were really pushed to go on field and observe, and that kind of destroys any preconceived notions that you might have or any knowledge that you think you already have, right? And sometimes you approach things that other people have perceived in certain ways, and you approach it in a completely new way, and that's because of your own lived experience and your own training. And so yeah, I know that in the future, no matter where I work, I can start negotiating for more field research and engagement based on my experience in practica itself. That and the fact that there are so many factors at play to create one single instance of whatever is being observed. Definitely, it has nothing but that. In the sense that it is reflecting the changes that are happening in India and across the world right now. There is so much that is being that's confronting the world today than ever before. So it's important for the kind of discipline to be revisited, and that's exactly how the contemporary relevance is being shaped. During the course of the fellowship, I realized that some of the thrust areas that I'm really interested in was mental health, for one, and climate change, and generally sociology, and how these kind of things come together. So my projects, yes, my practica was based on mental health, and to kind of really understand how different factors in a particular space in the city, interact with each other to kind of create a sort of mental health system in a specific person. And it also happened to be a woman, so gender also featured in that. And following that, the other projects that I've been able to participate in include, like, my upcoming project is also in the area of mental health, but how it's being implemented in a tribal community, so to speak, in a public health with a public health approach. So it's a community healthcare initiative, but with a focus on mental health. So I'm excited about it, and yeah, I'm really I'm letting myself just immerse myself in those kind of ideas, and whatever's going to come of it is probably a little while away, but I'm sure it's coming. I really like it. I love having this library, for instance. It's probably one of my favorite spaces, and the kind of books that are here, and the kind of diversity that is really engendered. Like, for instance, I don't think in college we had a great library. I went to Stella in Chennai, but there wasn't a focus on art and culture and things like that as being a part of economics. Economics was really all about Keynes and all of those theories and the graphs, and that's great. But then to really disseminate and really to make it relatable, I think art and people and sociology is key, and that's been one of the key kind of spaces for me at IIHS. And the people, I believe I've really been able to relate to some of the faculty members in a very personal way, and I've also asked them how I can deal with certain sort of frustrations and overwhelming emotions that come as being part of this sector where there's so much going on, and some of it is not always good news, right? So I mean, that's also been terrific. Like, I don't think I could have had it I think it's irreplaceable. Come with an open mind, and don't really. I mean, yes, we've all done our fair share of readings and travel and talking to people, but if you were really open to approaching certain topics from scratch, revisiting them, then that's probably when you'd probably take the most away from this fellowship.